You know that little engine icon on your dashboard? Yeah, it's probably one of the most dreaded lights in any car. Well, today we're going to find out exactly what it's trying to tell you when it throws a specific code. P0122. We are cracking this code, and by the end, you'll know precisely what to do about it.
Ah yes, that light. It pops up on your dashboard and your heart just sinks a little bit, doesn't it? It's a moment of pure uncertainty, but it really doesn't have to be. That light is just your car trying to talk to you, and today we're going to play translator.
All right, so let's get right into it. What does the code P0122 actually mean in plain, simple English?
So the official, super technical definition is throttle position sensor switch A circuit low. I know, it's a mouthful. This code gets logged by your car's brain, which is called the Powertrain Control Module, or PCM for short. But don't let all that jargon scare you off. The actual idea here is pretty straightforward. Let's just cut right through all that technical speak. All this code really means is that the sensor that tells the computer how far you're pushing the gas pedal, well, it's sending a signal that's just too weak or low. Simple as that.
So how low is low? Well, think of it like this. Your car's computer expects to hear a very specific baseline voltage from this sensor, right around half a volt, when your foot is off the gas. But when that signal drops way below 0.5 volts, the computer starts to worry, and that's when it throws up the P0122 flag to get your attention.
Now, to really get what's going on here, we kind of need to understand the parts involved. So let's take a quick peek under the hood at the system that's actually controlling your engine's power. Okay, so meet the throttle body. The easiest way to think of this thing is as the gatekeeper for your engine. It's the main entry point for all the air your engine needs to mix with fuel and, make power. And inside it has a very important part that does the actual gatekeeping. And that part is a little metal plate, often called a butterfly valve. When you press the gas pedal, this plate opens up, letting more air rush in. More air equals more power. You let off the gas, it closes back up. The whole job of the throttle position sensor is to tell the computer the exact angle of this little plate at all times.
Now here's what's pretty interesting. In older cars, you had a real, physical cable connecting your gas pedal to that throttle plate. You push the pedal, the cable literally pulls the plate open. Super simple. But most newer cars are what they call drive-by-wire. Your gas pedal is just sending an electronic signal to the computer, which then tells a little motor to open the throttle. The key thing to remember is the P0122 code can happen in either system because they both need that sensor to report the plate's position. Okay, so your car's computer is confused about how much power you're actually asking for. How does that confusion feel when you're sitting in the driver's seat? Let's look at the clues and then the usual culprits.
These are the classic signs. Because the computer doesn't trust the signal it's getting, you might feel the engine idling really rough, or maybe it hesitates when you try to accelerate. In some cases, to protect the engine, it'll go into a low-power, limp home mode. You might even find your cruise control just refuses to work. Do any of those sound familiar?
All right, we've got the clues from the crime scene. Now it's time to line up the usual suspects behind this whole P0122 code. Think of this chart as your roadmap for the investigation. As you can see, the odds are heavily stacked against one main culprit, the throttle position sensor itself. A whopping 60% of the time, this part has just failed. But before you run out and buy a new one, look at the other suspects. A wiring issue is the problem in a quarter of all cases, and a dirty throttle body is another 10%. That main computer, it's almost never the problem, so we save that for the absolute last resort.
We know the potential causes, so how do we nail down the real one? It's time to play detective and start the investigation.
Now, the absolute key here is to work from the simplest fix to the most complex. We don't just start throwing parts at the problem. Now, first, we just look. Then we use a scan tool to see what the computer is seeing. And finally, if we have to, we can use a multimeter to test the wiring directly. And here's the best part. Your very first step is totally free. Just pop the hood and find that throttle position sensor. Get in there and take a really close look at the wiring and the connector. Do you see anything obviously wrong? Like frayed wires, a plug that's not clicked in all the way, or that nasty green crust from corrosion? You'd be amazed how often the fix is as simple as clicking a connector firmly back into place.
If the visual check doesn't show anything, it's time for step 2. If you have a scan tool that can show live data, plug it in. With the car on and idling, that TPS voltage should be holding steady right around half a volt. Now, watch that number as you slowly press the gas pedal all the way to the floor. You're looking for a smooth, steady climb up to about 4.5 volts. If that number is stuck at 0, or if it jumps all over the place, then congratulations, you've just found your culprit.
All right, our investigation has led us straight to a suspect. Now it is time to close this case and apply the correct fix.
And the solution here is beautifully logical. If you saw that the inside of your throttle body was covered in grime, well, a good cleaning might be all it takes. If you found some chewed up wires, those need to be repaired. And if your test pointed directly to a bad sensor, then replacing that sensor is the right move.
Okay, whatever fix you perform, please do not skip this final, crucial step. Once you're done, you have to tell the computer that the problem is solved. Use your scan tool to clear the P0122 code from its memory. Then, the moment of truth. Take the car for a proper test drive to make sure everything is running smoothly, and most importantly, that the check engine light stays off for good.
So that dreaded P0122 code. Turns out it isn't so mysterious after all, is it? It's not some random error, it's a specific clue. And now you know how to follow that clue from the symptom to the diagnosis all the way to the fix. You've turned that little light from a symbol of anxiety into a problem you now know exactly how to solve. The only question left is, what part of your car are you going to figure out next?